Use evergreen content to get more views on Facebook. It is getting more and more complicated to obtain organic reach on Facebook. With millions of users worldwide, the amount of content generated on the platform is huge. The machine learning algorithms that run Facebook will continue to improve the experience for the users. The question is how we can, under those circumstances, manage to get more views for our content. Using evergreen content is one solution to the problem. But first of all, let's understand what evergreen content actually means. In order to understand what the evergreen concept is, we must understand what it is not. Themes such as news articles, articles focused on a current trend, statistics or reports that focus on a current theme, current clothing and fashion trends will quickly go out of date and soon will be of no more interest to the users. And what is evergreen content then? In a few words, evergreen content is a content that remains relevant over time and continues to drive traffic long after it was first published. It is content without an expiration date. This type of content remains fresh for the readers over a long period of time. You may argue that all online content is the same, since a blog post doesn't simply disappear after it has been published. Nevertheless, some types of content lose their relevance to the users over time and no longer generate views. You put a lot of time and effort to create your Facebook content. Would it not be a great idea if this content didn't lose its interest to the users and continued being watched for months or even years after publication? Anyway, to have success on Facebook, you do not necessarily have to work more. Instead of that, you should work smart. The evergreen content will continually drive traffic to your page, will help you connect with your audience, and make your brand popular. Now, let's try to understand how to create this evergreen content. Have you wondered why some themes remain sought after for a long period of time, bringing lots of views from users? Let's take the example of the how-to articles. There are specific activities like repairing a broken door or changing a light switch, which will always be of interest to people, since the activity described is of practical nature and many people are confronted with this issue in their daily life. They need a simple answer to a common question. How do I change a broken light switch? Broken switches did occur in the past, they break down now as we speak, and will get broken in the future. And people will need to fix them, and to that purpose, they need a clear guide on how to do it correctly. And this is where your role begins, by providing the right answer to their question. Your post will remain there, and whenever someone new will have to fix a broken switch in the future, they will need the information you provide. It's simple, right? Then why not think about what types of content is evergreen so that you can focus on that. Explaining common concepts belonging to domains that people work with every day but are confusing can represent an example of evergreen content. Everybody loves pets. Cats and dogs are common pets that people buy, and whoever adopts an animal needs to know how to take care of it. And this is where you help out. Instructing new pet owners how to take care of their pet will be an evergreen content that will keep driving traffic to your page. Classical themes such as creating Christmas or Easter decorations is yet another example. Christmas and Easter happen every year, and giving people advice on how to create their decorations will help them out every time. Of course, the lift in traffic will only happen in the winter and springtime in this case, but this theme will be helpful for the users for years from now on. Therefore, your hard work will be rewarded with lots of views. The complicated thing with evergreen content is that usually the most popular topics have already been covered, so there is a lot of competition with the most common themes. One aspect that you should take into consideration is that some of these topics may not be relevant to your type of business. Since you have a specific audience, the content you create must address that audience. Regarding the way you create your evergreen content, you should take into consideration the fact that you should write for beginners, although you have an expertise, and take into consideration the fact that experts aren't likely to be searching on broad topics. You need to address a large and recurring audience in order to get more Facebook views. Whenever possible, you should avoid using a too technical language. A good idea is to keep updating your evergreen content, since new developments in the domain may require making small changes in order to keep the content fresh. Since the technology, for example, keeps evolving, the evergreen content you have published might need small changes here and there in order to be up to date for your users.